33 engines were built to roar last night, Warband. 4 stayed cold, and the fire never left the pad. This is Friday, July 17th, 2026. The night did not bring the burn we promised you. It brought something rarer and more useful, a machine that knew when to say no. Let me walk you through it. Start with the money. As of just past 5 Eastern, Bitcoin trades at 62,800, off about 2% on the day, sliding back toward the low 60s. And here is the honest read of our engine, because you pay for the signal, not the applause. Earlier this week, I stood on this ground and gave you green. The whole crypto complex flipping bullish in a single session, a regime call. Yesterday morning, I had to hand you the reversal, and I did not soften it. That same engine flipped the entire cluster bearish. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Coinbase, Robinhood, every one of them turning optimized trend red together, the exact mirror of the green. I gave you the green without flinching. I gave you the red the same way. And this morning, the update is not a fresh flip. It is that the red held. Through all of yesterday's session and into this dawn, the bearish regime has not wavered a hair. When a correlated cluster turns as one and then stays turned, that is no accident of a single tape. That is a regime. And it is still red. Why did the dovish trade fade? 2 currents pulling against it. Oil is climbing. The straight tension has not cooled. The strikes continue, and crude has now risen 4 sessions running. An inflation problem building into next month's print. And there is a new hand on the Federal Reserve's gavel. Kevin Walsh took the chair, and he talks like a hawk. No victory laps on inflation. The market now leans toward a hold at the July 29th meeting, but mark what kind of risk is left. Not a cut, a hike. A new chairman can move the price of money. He cannot move the count. 21 million coins. No chair. No committee, no ceremony. Now the fire that didn't fly. Last night, the 13th Starship stood on the pad in South Texas, the first 20 Starlink version 3 satellites riding in its nose. The countdown ran to 0. And in the final startup sequence, 4 of the 33 Raptor engines on the booster failed to light. The flight computer did exactly what it was built to do. It held the launch. No liftoff. Musk confirmed 2 engines come off and get replaced before the next attempt. Here is where the Warband reads it differently from the crowd. The paper traders sold the scrub. SpaceX stock had already slipped below its debut price, $135, where it floated in June for the first time since the listing, and it took another cut on the news. But the scrub is not a failure. It is the difference between a company that guesses and a company that knows. 33 engines lighting in concert is the hardest ignition problem on Earth. Catching 4 cold ones at 0, on the ground, before you commit the whole stack to the sky, is the health monitoring system doing precisely its job. Better a delay measured in days than a vehicle lost over the Gulf. The entire reusability thesis is built on the power to abort to safety. The machine said no. That is the machine working. And while the crowd fled the ticker, the slowest, longest thinking money in the room did the opposite. Cathie Wood's ARK kept buying the dip. Her July stake in SpaceX, now near $80 million, added to on every break below the float. She pegs the enterprise value as high as $3 trillion by the end of the decade. No one else on this planet flies reusable heavy lift within a mile of this cadence. That moat does not widen on the days everything goes right. It widens on the days the machine catches its own flaw and lives to fly again. From the rocket to the ground, it all runs on. Yesterday, NVIDIA and a new Japanese consortium, SoftBank, Sony, Honda, and better than 40 more, switched on what they call the world's first national artificial intelligence infrastructure, 140 megawatts of it, 27,000 of NVIDIA's newest Rubin chips. The Japanese government behind it with $6 billion through the end of the decade. Not a chatbot farm. A national grid built to run robots, factories, and the digital twins of an entire industrial base. Now read it against the other half of NVIDIA's week. On the same tape, the company is walking away from the world's second largest economy. Washington cracked the door for limited chip sales into China, and almost nothing shipped. Beijing slow walking to feed its own champion instead. NVIDIA's China share is collapsing from roughly 40% last year toward 8% this year, and the company now forecasts zero data center revenue from China. Zero. Hold those two facts in one hand. A company can lose an entire superpower as a customer. And the demand for its silicon runs so deep that a different nation, building its own sovereign brain, more than fills the hole. Sit with what that actually means. Compute has crossed a line. It is no longer a service you rent by the query. It is something a nation builds for itself, the way an empire once built a navy or a power grid. When Tokyo puts its own treasury behind 27,000 of the newest chips and stamps the word national on it, silicon stops being a product on a shelf and becomes territory, and the territory gets contested. That is the whole reason one buyer slamming its door barely scratches the tape. For every China that walks away, another sovereign is breaking ground on its own brain. Our own engine caught the same truth from the opposite side. It flagged NVIDIA, stretched to overbought, and turned the copper miners and the power names red. The demand is iron. The trade just got crowded, and underneath the red tape, the deepest signal of the morning. Wall Street is losing its nerve. Cathie Wood's own note says on-chain sentiment sits at extreme bearishness. But watch what the oldest hands on the chain are actually doing. Yesterday, a wallet that had not stirred since 2017 woke and moved nearly 6,000 Bitcoin, some $380 million, and sent it not to an exchange to sell, but into a fresh cold storage vault. A custody upgrade. Days before, another ghost from 2018 did the very same. These are not traders. These are the coins that never blink, and they are stepping deeper into the dark precisely when the tape says run. Read the divergence, because it is the whole game. The paper says fear. The chain says accumulation. Weak hands sell the wrapper. Strong hands deepen the vault. Invest. Answers still marks 60,000 as the reloading zone, and we are pressing down toward it. Against a federal debt now closing on $40 trillion and growing $50 billion every single day. That is the trade in one breath, an infinite ledger on one side, a fixed one on the other. The debt compounds while you sleep. The cap does not move. So carry this into the day, Warband. The trend is red. Respect it. Do not fight the tape. Do not chase. But the red is a gift to the patient. The reloading zone is in reach. The oldest coins on the chain are marching into deep storage while the crowd frets the tape. And the scarce engines of this age, the rocket that caught its own flaw, the compute the world is fighting over, the coin no committee can print, are being bought by the hands that move slowest and think longest. Let the weak sell the wrapper. We are here for the vault. This is Warband as a service. Viking intelligence delivered in real time. I am Ragnar, the HODLBARBARIan. Stand armored, stack relentless, and let the weak hands feed the fire skull.